Point number 4, determine structure and location of supermarket pull system. It's very important to see, okay, where will we keep the supermarket systems? Now, when we cannot move, when we have still not eliminated inefficiencies, at least you release them in batches, no? That's what traffic police does, right? What is single piece flow? If it is a flyover, it's a single piece flow. The flyover is a single piece flow. Like one after the other, it will go smoothly without any interruption. All the lanes, each lane, one lane for cars, one lane for bikes, one lane for bicycles, one lane for trucks, all single piece flow, it'll go. But then when you cannot, then you should use supermarket pull systems, which means you'll have to regulate the traffic. Make sure that once it reaches here, push them there. Pull them. Okay, release them. When this is gone, that will pull that. That pull and push is operated with signals. He said, adjust the timing of the signal such that it can be pulled perfectly to enhance the speed of the traffic jam. Good point, Mr. Manohar. So similarly, here also adjust the size of the supermarket to ensure proper buffer and pull, continuous flows. Ultimate Kanban is no Kanban. Okay. Ultimate Kanban is no Kanban. Kanban is just a card used to pull this. The Kanban is like, I give you money, you give me product. Here we are saying, I'll give you this card, you give me this product. As simple as this. Kanban card is as simple as that. I give you money, you give me the product. That is called withdrawal Kanban. You go to the supermarket, somebody is sitting at the supermarket, you give him the money, you get it. Or you go to the chai shop, you give him the token, you get the chai. But then the person who is sitting in the supermarket, what he does after giving you that, he again gives the money to someone else and fills it here. That is called production Kanban. Okay. Kanbans are used to control the replenishment of material in the supermarket buffers. Supermarket is nothing but a buffer, but a controlled buffer. It is a controlled buffer. So this will prevent the production of large. Murli, anyway, it is inventory. What have we done to reduce inventory? The answer is, I have not done anything to reduce inventory. I have only brought inventory discipline. If this is clear, type 9 or 10 if it is clear. This is inventory discipline is what we are bringing in, and we are not reducing inventory using supermarkets. In fact, we can even increase. Yesterday, I told I would even in some companies increase, because I tell them, let me see at least with this increased state, they are able to follow the discipline. Even then there'll be stockouts in that. Because of then you expose inefficiencies and say, this is the inefficiency we should expose. And if that inefficiency is removed, you can actually cut that inventory, supermarket inventory into by 20% or 30%. Some of you who have if you have done real-time projects, you will type ICR in the comment box. Okay, till you actually practice Kanbans, I would have implemented Kanban in 10, 15 companies so far. Okay, if you can relate. And Kanban follows, because Kanban involves controlled inventory, some discipline of giving the card, removing the material and things like that. If you don't follow the discipline, if you say that, okay, card is not there, de do, baad mein denge. Like, I don't have the card, but it is urgent. You please give, I don't know where I missed a card. Everything will collapse. And not taking items which is there in card. They say, use this card and give that item. Gone. There are 9 rules of Kanban. I'm not telling all these rules of Kanban here. Okay. So prevent production of large and inventory, including batches. Push process closer to continuous flow. The more is the distance, the more is the disconnect in information first. And of course, more is the time taken to move. So as much as possible, let it be closed. Unless changeover time is an issue, Kanbans are initially sized to release 20 to 30 minutes worth of work at a time. Now, I'm not going to explain this, okay, why? Okay, this is what I had suggested one company and it had worked well. Okay, how to arrive at, please don't ask me. It is just that experimentation, trial and error, okay? How, for example, if you have to bring vegetables from the supplier, would you bring in a huge truck, onions in one truck, which will stay for 1 month? Or would you bring in smaller trucks, which will cater to you for 1 week? Or would you bring it in an auto, which will cater to you for 1 day? Which decision would you take? Or would you ask them to bring every hour? Which decision would you take? Let's see some. Or onions, maybe a week, okay? Every hour. No, onions, only example is onions. All of us know the shelf life of onions, okay? I'm not talking about tomatoes. I'm talking about onions every week. A week, okay. Smaller auto trolley. No, don't ask, go into the vehicle. You have to say whether it is daily, hourly, weekly, or monthly, or yearly. Yearly, no, nobody will like. So weekly seems to be a better option, but daily. Now, this is what is a thought process, okay? Which decision is right? You will always say it depends. And finally, you will see a system as a whole. We should see system as a whole. For example, if you see, bring it weekly, maybe the logistic cost might be less, but your inventory cost will be more. If you bring it daily, maybe logistic cost is very high, inventory cost is less. Space, yeah, space and so many factors. So you have to see that as a business system. And what is the system output? What does every business tend to achieve? You have to use the language of lean practitioner blueprint, okay? What is the ultimate goal of every business? We would have told this 100 times. Ultimately, what does a business want? GPS. For people who have heard me many times, it is GPS. Okay. And as long as it helps in this GPS, take that decision and don't think local optima. If you are only a finance person, you will think, oh, only monthly ones you take, truck cost is low. But don't think as only as a finance person, think as a whole as a business person. If this is clear, type super clear, let's go ahead. Now, definition of Kanbans, a little bit of definition, okay? We have said this enough. It's a Kanban is Japanese signboard, a signaling device. We have said different types of Kanban, even verbal signaling, token signaling, light signaling, alarm signaling, card signaling, and things like that, okay? Electronic digital signaling, all that we have seen. So Kanban cards are most common form. And now earlier they had cards because when Taichi Ono, who actually perfected this Kanban cards, he took about 13 years. He has written in his book. I have this book. Now, the point here is those days, electronics was not advanced. Digitalization was not there. So the card was the best option during that time. So it doesn't mean Kanban means Kanban cards, okay? Today, everything can be on an iPad. So it is just the signal that you need to give to ensure that it triggers an action. So withdrawal Kanbans are sent upstream to supermarket to release a defined amount of material down the stream. Now you understand what is upstream and downstream. Production Kanbans are sent from supermarket to upstream, step to request for a. So production, I mean, now you understand what is upstream and downstream. People who have not attended the initial courses, don't worry about that. Okay. Whenever we move along with the material flow, it is called downstream. Whenever we're going against the material towards raw material, from finished good, if you're traveling to raw material, it's called upstream. Okay. Signal Kanbans, large batch situations to trigger production. So these are all the names, okay? We will go into the depth of Kanbans at some point in time, okay?